Hello, everybody. It's been quite a while since I've made anything really entertainment related, and even longer since I showed any new equipment. That's largely because I haven't made any major upgrades in a long time. Even so, I don't think I've ever made a video showing the setup that I have, so I thought I would do that today. Without further ado, here is my stagnant and kind of outdated entertainment system. First things first. Here is my TV, a 47-inch Sony. I showed this in an older video when it was pretty much brand new. I've got a long history with Sony. They were the main TV I had watching in the house growing up. Then the DVD player was the same brand. It all worked in sync together, so I stuck with them for life. There's a button right on the remote for Netflix, which works fine, but after a while it kind of glitches out. You'd have to turn off the TV to get it working right again. I used to watch YouTube on it also, but now I basically don't use either of those on here, and I now use something I'll mention later. Now, I bought this in 2014, so it doesn't have a lot of the modern features like a smart TV would have. I don't really feel the need for a lot of that, but one thing that I think would be great to have is screen mirroring. I remember being on vacation in Washington. The Airbnb I stayed at had a pretty nice TV, and at the end of the day, I played the footage I shot in one of the national parks on a huge high-quality screen, which was pretty great for an end-of-day activity and just for playback of raw footage. Now, the option for screen mirroring does appear on here, but I could never get it to work. In retrospect, it's a bit embarrassing because by today's standards, it's very bare bones. Back then, I paid full price for this thing without considering holiday sales or just how things would change. Now, I could probably get one bigger and better than this for less than what I paid, but after 11 years, it still works, and other than the small gripes I just said, I have no complaints, so I'm not going to replace it unless I have to. I've never had cable or anything while living here, so all I watch is either just streaming or whatever I have physically. Speaking of which, let's move on to the Blu-ray player. This I've had for some years now. It kind of hums when you turn it on. There's also a feature that only occasionally works. I have no clue as to why. When you turn off a movie without finishing, sometimes it starts up and asks if you want to continue where you left off. Other times, not. It'd be great if that feature always worked, but maybe that's just the Blu-rays in general and not the player. It's probably due for some kind of replacement, but again, it still works fine, so I'll keep it until I consider something worthy. Now, for my sound system. The Bose soundbar. I actually still have both the receipt and the box it came in. The Bose store was having a bit of a closeout sale at the time, so this was on sale for like half price. I remember these things being on display in home theater sections in stores, and it still holds up pretty well. It's great to show off with a big action movie or one with a strong opening. I had one friend suggest I open the windows and watch Saving Private Ryan. They'll think there's a war going in the house. I'd like to demonstrate, but showing it here wouldn't do it justice. Now, for my gaming system. I'd like to go more into depth with all this in future videos, but this is the most outdated part of my setup. Here's the Xbox 360, which I also showed when I first got it. Even then, this console was almost a decade old, and the Xbox One had already come out. I got every system I have, specifically because there was one game I wanted to play. In this case, it was GTA 5, but I did end up getting others. I also have GameCube and the Nintendo Wii in storage, and here's all the games for them. I think when I bought this stand, it came with doors that were supposed to go here, which I just decided, what's the point in putting them on? I could just grab a game whenever I wanted. Well, now they get hit with direct sunlight all the time, and not only does it fade the ink on the boxes, but one thing I didn't even think about was the plastic is now very brittle, and it cracks, and these are the bits of it that have broken off. So yeah, I don't have a lot to show when it comes to my gaming system, but I do have a bit to say. This is going back a while, but I just wasn't excited to play the games anymore. Even my friends agreed that GTA 5, going around smashing things, got boring after a while. Also, with the Xbox 360 no longer being supported, I found that the apps I had on it, Netflix, YouTube, just no longer worked either. That is, until I was trying them out again to refresh my thoughts for this video, and I guess they do still work, but now they're not the quality I'm accustomed to on the Fire Stick. I was also annoyed that anytime I wanted to play a game, I had to sign into Xbox Live and put in my password. It would say, that's not correct, you have to change it. And it's my email password, so I'd have to do that and change it on everything just to play a game. I'm like, do I really have to do that? Does the same thing apply on modern systems? Leave me a comment, let me know. Another thing I haven't figured out completely is apparently, though, all this time, you could download the game without having to go through all that. So I guess now I'll either have to keep my password up to date or do that for every single game, whatever. It's working me up just thinking about it. My GameCube is also having a problem that I have to fix eventually. Maybe this is part of why I'm not a gamer, is just the tedious setups and aging systems. Well, one piece of that I did figure out, and I'll show that next. Below that, I have a special switcher box, which, after you've done all that tedious wiring work and setup, if you're working with multiple different systems, why go through all the aggravation of putting one away and having to do the same for the other? Well, that's where this comes in. You take the RCA cables, the red, white, and yellow, plug them in here, set your TV on the right setting, then with just a flick of a switch you can go between the different systems, that easy. Just the other day, my Fire Stick was glitching out and I had to go behind the TV to unplug it. That'll teach me not to label what things are. And I remembered part of the inspiration to get this was being annoyed that these ports on the actual TV used to be on the front, but at some point the designers decided, no, screw that convenience, put them on the back. So you do have to plug it in there, but you only have to figure it out once, then it's done and dealt with. I do only have one system plugged in, and the other thing is my VHS and DVD player. I have a few things on tape that were never released on anything else. It's also great for playing old family home movies. It doesn't see too much use, but it's great for the odd occasion that you do need it. A while ago, I started collecting old VHS copies of my favorite movies just to have them. And I'm sure that'll be cool to watch. Plus, if I ever decide to pick up one of those collector tapes that occasionally get released. And the newest thing I have as part of my whole system is this. The Amazon Fire Stick. At a former job of mine, I was a security guard at a gated community. I had a booth as my workspace, and one thing they had was one of these to watch movies on the job. It sounds great, but it wasn't exactly a dream job. That site was super busy, and I usually didn't get to sit down for more than 5 minutes before somebody would come. Gated communities are the worst, and maybe I'll go into that in a future video. Anyway, that job made me want one for my home, and it's been pretty much my most used device ever since. I use it to watch YouTube, Netflix, and pretty much all streaming. Funny, years ago for a Christmas present, I had gotten another one, which this is the box it came in. It's interesting to compare and see how it's changed. There's a couple of names you don't hear anymore. And this thing was super easy to set up. It came with batteries. It takes only one wire, pieced together, plug it in. It would ask what kind of TV you have, so it syncs perfectly. I push this button, it turns the TV on, changes the setting by itself, and you're ready to go. That easy. I organized all my streaming services on the top row. I can connect my phone and watch YouTube vids in full quality on a big screen. And this is how I've been doing most everything for a while now. And that's most of what I have to show. Like I said, there haven't been many changes or upgrades to anything in a while, partially just because of economic reasons, and I guess also with it, a changing mindset. I remember thinking when I first moved in here, I wanted to upgrade my Xbox to the PS4. So yeah, that's already a long while back. All that time, bigger priorities just kept coming along and I just started doing my own things. Then the PS5 came out and that was impossible to get for a while. And as I still considered it, so was the 4. Ultimately though, I'm not much of a gamer and of course that's the primary reason to get it. The games I have piled up down there are from multiple different consoles and they don't even fill up that row. I'm imagining it would sort of serve as one big media center with everything I'd use in one big package, but I already have the Fire Stick for that. PS5 can play everything from DVD to 4K, which sounds cool, except that I'm not really buying any movies like I used to. The fact that it can play 4K also sounds cool until I stop and think for a second. I don't even own any. I will when I consider something on 4K worth buying, and maybe when that happens, I can just buy a standalone 4K player. Maybe that's more likely, because one thing you can get on a basic player is one that is region-free. That's something that the almighty PS5 won't have. So if I buy a movie from a different part of the world cinema, or just a European release, it won't play on a machine which is region-locked like the PS5 is. Besides, the PS5 is already 5 years old at this point, and the 6 is probably coming in the not-too-distant future. If I eventually want to play these games, I'm going to have generations to catch up on. I'd be paying a lot for it one way or the other. And eventually, is all that stuff just gonna not be supported anymore, like the Xbox, and simply playing a game that much harder to do? See, this is the kind of stuff I'm thinking about now. But in large part, this stuff, even if a bit old school, it all still works, and it all works together. I do still have ideas for things I'd like to do, and I'm always hungry for more. The one thing I'm doing lately is I look at the latest flashy things and think they'd be cool to have, but at the same time I'm asking myself, are they going to end up collecting dust? Or do they have a point? Do they add anything? If not, then why buy it? In terms of that, I'm basically fine with what I have. And if I do find or buy anything worth showing, you all are going to be the first to see it. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope maybe I gave you some insight. Let me know what you thought below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.